What's growing on, gardeners? There are a million different gardening items out there that claim to make your life easier, but how do we know which are actually good and which are overpriced junk? Well, on today's video, I'm going to share with you all 12 cheap gardening items that actually made my garden better and my life easier, and I can't wait to share them with you all.
If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and check out my Amazon store and Spreadshop links in the video description for everything I use in my garden and awesome custom apparel and gear.
If you are curious about any of the products featured in this video, I will place direct links to all of them down in the video description for your convenience. Cheap gardening item number 1 are grow bags. Fabric grow bags are perhaps the cheapest, easiest, best way to begin an annual vegetable container garden. And they work incredibly well. Plants thrive in them, and I've been growing in them for many years with absolutely incredible success. 20-gallon grow bags are probably my favorite size for all-purpose gardening, and the best part is you can get a 6-pack of them for about the same cost as one hard nursery container of equivalent size. Although I will say for large tubers and roots like potatoes and sweet potatoes, larger containers like these 25-gallon grow bags right here do perform a little bit better. Just please keep in mind that fabric grow bags are designed for annual vegetable gardening. They are not designed for planting perennials like fruit trees and things like that, because eventually you have to remove the containers and refresh the soil and root prune them for your perennials. And these grow bags just don't let go of the roots. You'll have to manually cut them off. So I don't recommend you use them for perennials, but for annuals, they are absolutely fantastic. Cheap garden items 2 and 3 have completely revolutionized my vegetable garden, and they are double tomato hooks and plant clips. These have become my favorite way to trellis vining crops like indeterminate tomatoes, cucumbers, small melons, even things like sweet potato vines and pole beans. It is such an easy, cheap, and versatile system. All you need is some kind of aerial cable or some kind of trellis running above that you can hook the double tomato hooks onto, and then you just unspool the twine. And from there, you use the plant clips to clip the main stems onto the twine, and that holds them in place. You can see multiple pieces of twine hanging down and multiple clips. We have the same thing growing on here with our cucumbers, and it just develops this absolutely fantastic system for all of our vining crops. And it is surprisingly strong because the breeze actually helps the plants sway, so it alleviates a lot of the pressure. It's a lot stronger than you think. The tomatoes in my main garden are supported the same exact way, except I have the double tomato hooks hooked onto a piece of cattle panel above. I'm even growing some of my vining crops up my rain gutters. As long as you have something to hook the tomato hooks onto, you can grow vertically. Cheap gardening item number 4 are 1/2-inch PVC conduits. I use these to build hoop houses over top all of the raised beds that I possibly can. You can get these 1/2-inch PVC conduits at any big box hardware store for only a few dollars a piece, and you can bend them into hoops and secure them to any of your raised beds. And you can use these to support any kind of cover using PVC clips that will just clip the cover on. I use these in the summer to put shade cloth over things when it gets too hot. I put insect netting during the fall when it's still really buggy. I use agricultural fabric and frost cloth in the winter when I want to give my plants some frost protection. So you can use these hoops to protect your garden year-round. If you're curious how to build a PVC hoop house over a raised garden bed, I will link to a video both above and down in the video description. It only takes about 30 minutes to do it. Just make sure you use the gray electrical conduit from the electrical aisle, not the white PVC pipe from the plumbing aisle. The electrical conduit is UV resistant, so it will last many years longer. Cheap gardening item number 5 is a game changer in my garden, and that is weed barrier. When I put this weed barrier down around my container garden area 8 years ago, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. This has paid for itself 10 times over and has saved me hundreds, maybe thousands of hours of time in weeding. Again, this weed barrier in this area is going on 8 years old, making it one of the best investments I have ever made in my garden. The time savings, the money savings, it is absolutely incredible. I also have weed barrier installed in all of the walkways of my raised bed garden. Now, in this part of the raised bed garden, I have 18-inch deep raised beds, so because they have so much soil in them, there's actually weed barrier that goes underneath the raised beds in order to block things like moles and voles and also the nematodes in my native sandy soil. But out in the rest of the raised bed garden, where my beds are only 7¼ inches deep, I do not have weed barrier underneath those. They only run in between the aisles to keep the walkways relatively weedless. Cheap gardening item number 6 is a rechargeable hand vacuum with a crevice tool. This is one of my favorite ways to remove insect pests from my garden. Every day, sometimes twice a day, I go around my plants and I check them for insect pests. So whether it's things like stink bugs or leaf-footed bugs on my tomatoes, squash bugs that are scurrying underneath my squash plants, well, all you do is you turn this on, and then you suck up the individual bugs as you see them. So it's a great way to reduce the insect population without using covers, without using any kind of sprays or chemicals. And as long as you get yourself a hand vacuum with a rechargeable battery, it basically has no operational costs. Just get yourself a cheap one. Any brand will really do. Make sure it has a crevice tool so you can target the individual pests, and you will have yourself a great, easy, targeted insect removal tool. Cheap gardening item number 7 is a Japanese pool saw. If you have ever watched any of my fruit tree pruning videos, you know this is the tool that I use to cut any branches that are greater than 1/2 inch in diameter. These are super neat and super precise. Just watch. And just like that, they provide a precision cut. But these actually aren't made for pruning. They are actually made for precision cutting of lumber. I actually used this pruning saw to cut a lot of the 2x4s and 4x4s on this roof frame right here, and it did an excellent job. These are just so precise that I find them to be better pruning saws than actual saws marketed as pruning saws. Cheap garden item number 8 that is actually good are these micro pruner shears, or tip pruners, depending on what you want to call them. They're the same thing. I have tried many different sub $10 micro pruners over the years, and most of them have been cheap junk that only last a few months, except for these. These are truly heavy duty, high quality, and built to last. You won't believe the weight of these. These are truly nice. Micro pruners are for smaller pieces of vegetation that are too small for bypass pruning shears, and for things you don't want to carry around a big pair of bypass pruning shears. So for example, these are great for pruning vegetative growth on things like tomato plants or peppers. They're great for trimming off the new green growth on your fruit trees. That just snaps off, no problem. They're also great for picking fruits. See, you don't actually want to rip off your tomatoes all the time, because doing that can actually break branches on the plants, so sometimes you just want to snip them off. They are great for that. They're also great for harvesting things like eggplant. They take a little bit of effort to cut loose. Same thing with large hardy fruits like zucchini or cucumbers. Look at all of these babies. What a harvest. No gardener is complete without a good pear. Oh, and if you're wondering what that crazy prolific variety of cucumber was, that is party time, true to its name. Cheap garden item number 9 is this battery-powered 4.2-gallon backpack sprayer. And at first you may be saying, wait a second, I thought you're featuring cheap items here. Well, this is the most expensive item in terms of raw dollars, but it is probably also the best value, the best deal on this entire list. And I'll explain to you why. If you use these cheap manual pump sprayers, this is a 2-gallon manual pump sprayer. Well, the cheapest ones start at about the $25 to $30 range, and the more expensive ones can go anywhere as 2 to 3 times as expensive. And believe it or not, this 4.2-gallon backpack sprayer is about in the same price range as the higher end 2-gallon manual pump sprayers. So not only do you get double the capacity, but it is battery powered. And looking at this, you would think this would cost well into the hundreds of dollars, and it does not. I don't want to say how much it is, because if you're watching this video years later, the prices are going to rise, obviously, but if you navigate to the link in the description, you won't believe how inexpensive it is. It has pressure several times more than what you can get out of a manual pump sprayer, plus more than double the capacity, and because it's on your back, it's a lot easier to hold and carry around. The other awesome thing about this battery-powered sprayer is the batteries don't die on you after 20 minutes. They last a very long time. I have run numerous cycles through it without ever having to recharge the battery. I can't believe how long they last. So if you've used sprayers in the past that quit on you after 20 to 30 minutes, don't worry about that. These batteries last a very long time. You are going to burn through everything in the tank multiple times before it needs a recharge. I've showed you this sprayer in action a couple of times this year. If you have ever had to spray anything in your garden, you know how miserable of an experience it is, and using something that is battery powered will save you a tremendous amount of effort. It is so much easier. If you've ever wanted to upgrade to something better and you don't want to spend a lot of money, I urge you to give this a try. It is truly awesome. Cheap gardening item number 10 is a seedling heat mat. If you are at all interested in starting your own plants from seed or rooting cuttings, you simply must invest in a seedling heat mat because it will not only cut the rate of germination time in half, but it will dramatically increase the success rate of seeds germinating. Seedling heat mats are very affordable, and I strongly recommend you get the biggest size that you can fit. This one right here is a 48-inch by 20-inch seedling heat mat, and this is going to be the perfect size for the majority of gardeners for starting seeds indoors because it will fit about 5 10-20 trays, which are 10-inch by 20-inch trays, and that will allow you to start hundreds upon hundreds of seedlings or a massive tub of tree cuttings if you want to root your own cuttings. Cheap garden item number 11 is a seedling heat mat thermostat. If you're going to start your own seeds indoors, you also want to have temperature control for your seedling heat mat. That is because different seedlings like different temperatures to germinate. So something like broccoli or cabbage, well, they're cooler season. They may only want soil temperatures in the 70 to 75 degree range, but something hot weather like a tomato or a squash or a melon, they like temperatures more like in the 80 to 85 degree range. So a seedling heat mat thermostat allows you to fine-tune the temperature of the seedling heat mat itself. So all you do is you take the included probe and then you stick it inside the soil, and that will measure the soil temperature. Then you will set the seedling heat mat. So you can see I have this one set to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. It will keep the seedling heat mat on until that temperature of 85 degrees is reached, and then it will turn off. So it regulates the temperature precisely. And when you use a precision control like this dramatically expands the capabilities of the seedling heat mat. So you can use it to do more than just start seeds. You can use it to warm a reptile enclosure. You can use it to incubate chicken eggs. You can use it to make your own yogurt or kombucha. You can use it to help bread rise. There are all kinds of cool things that you can do with a seedling heat mat when you have precise thermostatic control. And cheap garden item number 12 are wireless smart outlets. They connect through the Wi-Fi system at your home, and then you can control them using an application on your phone. In this case, the one I use is controlled through a free app called Smart Life. And this allows you to not only turn on each of the individual outlets wirelessly and remotely. I can turn on the grow lights remotely, I can turn on the heat mat remotely and turn it back off, but you can also set it on a schedule. So they will automatically turn on at the same time every morning and automatically turn off at the same time every evening. This will automate the process so you never make a mistake, and you can also go on vacation and things like that while your seeds are germinating. I also use outdoor rated wireless smart outlets to keep my cold sensitive citrus and avocado trees warm during the winter. I have them plugged in, and that way if I'm ever not home, I can simply remotely turn on the incandescent Christmas lights that I use to keep them warm during the winter time. And that right there are 12 cheap gardening items that are actually good. All of these items will increase the health and productivity of your garden while making your life a lot easier. At least they have for me. I use every single one of these items in real life all the time, and they have made my garden and my life a lot better. So everybody, I sure hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and please ring the notification bell so you're notified when I release release more videos like these. Again, if you're curious about any of the products that I featured in this video, I placed direct links to all of them down in the video description for your convenience. For everything else I use in real life in my garden, that is all linked in my Amazon storefront in the video description. So expand the video description, click on the Amazon storefront link, and you'll see everything I use in real life. And while you're down there, please consider checking out my spread shop for custom merch if you want to support my channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Well, we have been getting thunder for the last hour, and Dale has been hiding because of the thunder. That's why he is in his very nifty, handsome thunder jacket that for some reason, I guess the little patch on the side finally fell off. But in order to give him a treat, I made him a sweet potato omelet, and Mr. Dale finally came out for his sweet tater omelet. Okay, buddy, you're finally out from behind the couch. I need you to sit and wait, because I need to put this in your bowl. No. You sit and wait. I have to put this in Dale's puzzle bowl, otherwise he will gulp this way too fast. It's just 2 whole eggs and a small sweet potato. So let's spread that in the bowl in order to slow him down. Okay, mister, or you tell us how good it is. Compliments to the chef, I hope. It's so good it got Dale to come out in the middle of a thunderstorm.